Looking back, I realize I wasn't just in a relationship, I was a service. A subscription, my friend Trevor called it, and he was right. I was the reliable infrastructure, the calm after the storm, the one who built things up, only to be dismissed when the volatile shine of chaos returned. For 2 years, I thought I was Owen, a steady guy making sure pharmaceuticals wouldn't harm anyone, earning a decent living, building a future with Kristen. She was 25 when we met, and utterly broken. I found her in a coffee shop, crying over a declined debit card, the barista tapping her foot, the line growing. I paid her $4.80 coffee, a small gesture that started a monumental mess. 3 days later, over another coffee, she poured out her story: 3 years with Blake, a club promoter who never promoted anything real, a charmer who borrowed money, cheated, and finally dumped her for a 20-year-old cocktail waitress. Kristen had fallen apart, isolating herself, consumed by reality TV and takeout. I was everything Blake wasn't: reliable, present, honest. Owen is safe, she'd said. I'm done with the drama. I want peace. And I gave her peace. I helped her navigate a financial disaster, $15,000 across 6 high-interest credit cards. I showed her the numbers, helped her consolidate, set up budgets. She wept when her credit score jumped 70 points. I co-signed for a new car when her old one was repossessed, a casualty of Blake's recklessness. When she decided to finish her communications degree, I made it possible, covering our $1,700 monthly rent for 18 months. I ate chicken and rice, wore worn-out shirts, and ignored my car's check engine light so she could succeed. Spring 2024, she graduated. I was there, front row, taking pictures. 2 months later, a job, a desk by a window, new clothes, yoga, confidence radiating from her. I felt proud. We were winning. The first tremor hit that July, at her parents' summer cookout. Her mom, Helen, was holding court on the deck. I was helping her dad, David, at the grill when I heard Helen's sister, Diane, mention I seemed nice. Helen, in a flat tone reserved for bland opinions, agreed, very stable, very responsible. Diane asked if that was good, given the Blake disaster. Helen's laugh held no warmth. Blake had personality. Blake was exciting. Owen is safe. Kristen was 5 feet away, scrolling on her phone, utterly silent. David, sensing my stillness, changed the subject, but the words echoed. Owen is safe, and Kristen hadn't defended me. I tucked that away. A month later, the changes started. A new, musky perfume instead of her usual floral scent. Aggressive rap music in the car, explaining it helped her focus at the gym. Tighter clothes, more makeup for work, just being professional. Then, late August, while we watched a movie, her phone flashed on the coffee table. Blake, still thinking about our talk. You free this weekend? She snatched it, flipped it over, no explanation. She claimed he'd just reached out, seeking closure. It's called closure, Owen. Adults do that. But after that, her phone was always in her hand. September brought another text, this time while she was still in bed. Blake, can't wait to see you. Been too long. She claimed work stuff or group chat. When I pressed about seeing Blake, she insisted it was just coffee, to close the chapter. But his text said, can't wait to see you. She accused me of invasion of privacy. Is it an invasion if you're lying? I asked. She called me paranoid. I ate my breakfast in silence and left. Nicole's engagement party later that month. Helen, raising a toast to Nicole and her ambitious fiancé, Justin, turned to Kristen. Kristen, honey, I hope you're taking notes. This is what it looks like when you find the right one. The table fell silent. Then the blow landed. I mean, I know you're with Owen now, and he's wonderful in his own way, but when you were with Blake, there was just this energy. You were so alive. David tried to intervene, but Helen continued, Owen is safe, but is that really what you want long-term? I looked at Kristen. Her eyes were fixed on her plate. "Say something," I murmured. She didn't. I stood up. "If you think I'm boring, Helen, you can say it to my face instead of performing for the table." She blustered, "I didn't say boring. You said safe." "Same thing." I looked at Kristen one last time. "And you're not saying anything." I left. She found me later, apologizing for her mother, blaming the wine. "She compared me to Blake in front of your entire family." "I know," she said, "but you know how she gets." "And you didn't say anything." She tried to hold my hand. I pulled away. "I'm going home." "You can stay." "Don't be dramatic." "I'm not. I'm leaving." "You do what you want." I drove home alone. She followed 2 hours later, annoyed I'd left without her. We never talked about it. 2 days later, her iPad, left charging, lit up with a family group chat notification. Diane was laughing about Helen's dinner comments. The iPad was unlocked. I scrolled up. Kristen had texted them in early September, lamenting how much she missed Blake's excitement. Helen had told her she was allowed to want more than stable. Diane had urged, "Don't settle." When Helen asked if different meant boring, Kristen hadn't said no. Diane replied, "You didn't have to LOL." And then, Helen's next message, "Bring Blake somewhere. See how you feel. See if there's still a spark." Kristen had called it terrible advice. Helen called it practical. I took photos of the screen with my phone, saved them to a locked folder, and replaced the iPad. I acted normal that night, made dinner, asked about her day. But I knew. Nicole's wedding was October 12th. Kristen, the maid of honor, was obsessed with perfection. I bought a new, tailored navy suit, had my car detailed, got a fresh haircut. 2 nights before the wedding, I showed her the suit. Her face registered disappointment. "It's fine. Just fine. It's very you, Owen." Meaning, it's boring. Blake would have shown up in something bold. Blake, I retorted, would have shown up late and drunk. At least he'd be memorable. I hung the suit. "What time are we leaving Saturday?" I asked. She locked her phone. "About that." My jaw tightened. "She thinks you're a downgrade," Kristen finally said, admitting her mother believed I was safe and boring, that she'd settled. "Say that word again," I challenged. She tried to backtrack, but I cut her off. She was uninviting me because her mom thought I was boring, because she didn't want Justin's rich family to judge her. "No, Kristen," I said, "you're protecting yourself." She didn't deny it. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my duffel bag. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Leaving." "You're being dramatic. You just uninvited me to your sister's wedding and called me a downgrade." "I'm not being dramatic. I'm being clear." She begged to talk. "No. You made your choice. Go impress your mom and Justin's family. I'm not sitting at home waiting for you to decide if I'm good enough." "Where are you going?" "Hotel." "For how long?" "We'll see." "This is insane." "Yeah, it is." I walked out. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 20 minutes, questioning myself, until Trevor, my best friend, called. We met at a dive bar. After I told him everything, he leaned back. "So, she uninvited you to a family wedding because her mom thinks you're boring. And instead of defending you, she agreed. And now you're wondering if you overreacted?" "Kind of." "You didn't. You need to leave her. We've been together 2 years. I helped her with everything. That's exactly why she's keeping you around. You're not her boyfriend, man. You're a subscription service. You provide the infrastructure, the stability. But she doesn't actually want you. She wants the benefits. He was right. Saturday afternoon, Kristen left for the wedding. She gave me a quick, forced hug. Are we okay? We'll talk when you get back. 5 minutes later, from my fourth-floor window, I watched her get into an Uber. A leather-jacketed, swaggering man leaned out to help with her suitcase. Blake. She hadn't uninvited me to protect me, she'd uninvited me so she could bring him. I called Trevor. I need help moving out. Trevor arrived with his truck. We worked methodically, cleanly. My clothes, my documents, my emergency cash. My 65-inch TV, my PlayStation, my Sonos speakers. And then, the network. My internet account, my monthly bill. I unplugged the fiber modem and mesh router, wrapped the cord, tucked it into my backpack. The apartment went dark in a new way, smart lights dead, thermostat offline, Alexa silent. Trevor photographed everything. Insurance, he said. I left my key on the kitchen counter, no note. At 4:45 p.m., I sat on a Marriott bed, Trevor across from me. How you feeling? He asked. Honestly, relieved. Good. Now turn off your phone. Not yet. I want to see how this plays out. At 7:38 p.m., Kristen's dad, David, called. Owen, are you at the hospital? Hospital? No, I'm at a hotel. Why? Kristen had told them I'd collapsed, insisted she go to the wedding anyway. David was bewildered. Then why aren't you here? And why is Blake sitting at your seat eating your salmon? Trevor's eyes widened. I put the phone on speaker. David, Kristen uninvited me yesterday. She said you and Helen think I'm boring compared to Blake. She said my presence would make the family uncomfortable. What? Owen, I can't stand that clown. He borrowed $600 from me, tried to pitch me on some NFT scheme. Kristen keeps crying about needing emotional support. Trevor was grinning. Well, she has him now, I said. And she doesn't have me. What do you mean? I moved out, David. While she was at the ceremony. I'm done. I could hear music, glasses clinking. Owen, don't do this. She's stressed. There's nothing to fix. She looked me in the eye, called me a downgrade, and replaced me with her ex at your daughter's wedding. That's character, not stress. David was quiet. Blake just tried to hand Justin's father a business card for a podcast that doesn't exist. Trevor snorted a laugh. Tell Nicole congratulations, I said. And tell Kristen she can have the upgrade full-time now. David pleaded, Owen, wait. I hung up, powered off my phone. That was perfect, Trevor said. Clean, factual, no begging. Minutes later, Trevor's phone buzzed. Nicole, calling from the wedding, looking for me. She apologized, said Kristen lied about my hospital stay, that Blake was causing a scene, trying to pitch Justin's federal judge father on a podcast during cocktail hour. Kristen was defending Blake, making her sister's wedding about her own drama. I told Nicole it wasn't my fault. She said she was about to kick Kristen out of the bridal suite. 10 minutes later, Amanda, Kristen's coworker, texted Trevor, security was escorting Blake out. Then a video, shaky footage of Blake arguing with a guard. This is suppression of entrepreneurship, man. I'm a thought leader. Kristen was in the background, face in her hands. Helen appeared. You're embarrassing my daughter. Blake shot back, which daughter? Kristen asked me to come. The video cut. Trevor replayed thought leader and laughed. Amanda texted again, Nicole kicked Kristen out. Blake left with a bridesmaid. David shut down Helen's attempts to spin the narrative about me. You good? Trevor asked. Yeah. Sunday was quiet. Phone off, I slept until 10, ran, had lunch, read a book. Monday morning, I handled the aftermath. Landlord notice, utilities transferred, passwords changed. Kristen removed from all shared accounts. 2 years of transaction history, rent, car, groceries, saved in a folder labeled evidence. The only petty thing was the router. Not to hurt her, but to remind myself I was done being the infrastructure. At 8:30, I powered on my phone. 63 missed calls, 108 texts, 17 voicemails. Trevor arrived with coffee. My phone was a slot machine of panic. Where are you? Where's the TV? My dad is screaming at me. You embarrassed me. Blake left with a bridesmaid. You took the router. And finally, can we please just talk? I made a mistake. Trevor diagnosed it, the classic cycle: anger, gaslighting, panic, blame, begging. All 5 stages in under 24 hours. I archived the thread without responding, then blocked her number. That evening, in the parking garage at work, she was waiting. Leaning against my car, sunglasses on despite the overcast sky. You blocked me. I did. We need to talk. We don't. Owen, you can't just move out without talking. That's insane. I stopped 10 feet away. You uninvited me to your sister's wedding so you could bring Blake. Then you told your family I was in the hospital to cover for it. What's insane is thinking there's anything left to discuss. She claimed panic, thinking she needed closure. So, you brought him to a family wedding? She admitted it was a mistake. He got drunk, hit on Nicole's sister-in-law, tried selling Justin's dad crypto, then left with a bridesmaid. She took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were red. I'm sorry that happened, I said. But I'm not surprised. I know you were right. I miss you, Owen. You miss the rent being paid. That's not fair. Tell me one thing you miss about me that doesn't involve something I do for you. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I unlocked my car. My dad won't even talk to me. He'll forgive you eventually. I won't. I can't afford the apartment alone. I opened the door. Utilities shut off Wednesday if you don't call. Rent's due in 3 weeks. What about the car? Refinance it in your name. You've got 30 days. I can't get approved. Then sell it. I'm not staying on that loan. I got in and closed the door. She was yelling, but I couldn't hear. I backed out, checking the mirror. She stood there, alone in the shadows. 2 days later, Trevor sent a screenshot. Kristen's social media, vague victimhood, people who abandon you when you need them most. Helen was praising her strength. An hour later, a DM from Helen herself. Owen, I don't know what Kristen did, but publicly humiliating her by leaving without warning is cruel. She's devastated. Damage control. Trevor laughed. She's trying to flip the script. I opened my photos, found the iPad screenshots, Kristen's texts about missing Blake's excitement, Helen's advice to test the spark. I uploaded them to my story, public, no caption. Then I replied to Helen's DM. I handled it with exactly the amount of grace it deserved. I blocked her, blocked Kristen, deleted the apps. Trevor confirmed, you just posted the receipts. Ice cold. She wanted to make it public, I said, so I made it public. 2 weeks later, I moved my furniture out of the apartment. Kristen tried to block the door. Helen screamed about trauma. I left Kristen crying on the floor. 3 weeks later, Kristen missed the car payment. I covered it once to protect my credit, sending a text or a texting app, refinance into your name by December 1st or I'm forcing a sale. Her usual cycle: my credit isn't ready, can you stay on longer? You're making it harder. My response: December 1st. A week before the deadline, David called, asking man to man to give her more time. She was struggling, back home, embarrassed. The car was the one stable thing she had. No, David. She had 8 weeks. I gave her one free pass. She's not getting another. He was quiet, then said he understood. Sorry it came to this. He told me he'd told Helen she was wrong about me, about Blake, all of it. I thanked him. December 1st came, no refinance. She missed the next payment too. The lender confirmed I could force a sale. I sent her one final text: you missed the deadline. I'm initiating a forced sale. Cooperate for a better price, or they'll auction it and you'll lose more money. Her reply: you're really going to take my car? Then I hate you. She tried to hide the car, but the lender had her information. It sold at auction for $18,000, she still owed $1,500. David ended up covering it to keep it off my credit. My name came off the loan December 22nd. You took my car, she texted one last time. I protected my credit. You had 3 chances. You chose not to take any of them. I blocked the number, deleted the app. December came. I heard through David that Kristen had moved back in with her parents. Helen was furious. Nicole wasn't speaking to her. Blake was with the bridesmaid. I felt nothing. March 2025, 5 months after the wedding. I was leaving the gym. She was on a bench outside, looking smaller, tired. Owen. I stopped. Kristen. She begged for 5 minutes. Trevor's voice was in my head, * don't engage. Walk away, * but I was curious. She claimed therapy, understanding, fear of being boring, her mom's influence, Blake's texts. I reminded her of replacing me, the hospital lie. She knew it was horrible, had apologized to her family, to Nicole. She wanted to apologize to me. She seemed genuine. But Trevor's words echoed louder, * you're not her boyfriend. You're a subscription service, * apology noted, I said. We done? I was hoping we could try again. No. I've changed. Maybe, I replied, but I don't care. Her face fell. 2 years, and I just didn't care. I laid it out, I cared for 2 years. When I helped with your debt, co-signed the car, covered rent for school. When your mom called me boring and you didn't defend me. When you uninvited me and brought Blake. But caring runs out eventually. She called it a mistake. Multiple choices, I corrected. Now you're dealing with consequences. She tried one last angle. Blake had contacted her, she hadn't responded, she'd turned down a date, she was still in love with me. You're making better choices now, I said. For yourself, not for me. We were good together. No, Kristen. I was good to you. There's a difference. She started crying quietly. I know, I said, and walked to my car. She didn't follow. I drove straight to Trevor's. He tossed me a wrench. We worked on his motorcycle for 2 hours. Didn't talk about Kristen or Blake. Just worked. 2 months later, I met Rachel, a nurse. She asked me out first, direct, no games. We talked for 3 hours, laughed the whole time. On our second date, I gave her the short version of my last relationship. Ex brought her ex to a wedding instead of me. Lied about it. I left. She said it was my ex's loss. Are you over it completely? She asked. Good, she said, I don't do drama. Neither do I. And we didn't. After you've been the one holding everything up, How do you learn to trust a new foundation?